In the spring of 2019, a well-liked and respected trucker in a small town in West Virginia went missing. In the days that followed, it seemed that everyone in the community had a theory. Rumors, speculation, and accusations were rampant. The investigation navigated a maze of strange clues, finger-pointing, and colorful characters.
Man, I don't know a freaking thing about this missing guy, dude. I don't even know. My mom asked me today, well, how come they're saying...
Until one small and seemingly innocuous lie unraveled the mystery of this small town murder. Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today's case takes us to a town of just over 200 people. That setting goes a long way to explaining how this investigation unfolds. With no murder scene or weapon, limited physical evidence, and dodgy witnesses, there were only a few ways this case could have been solved. When it finally was, the truth was truly horrific. Let's take a look. Kingwood, West Virginia is a small community situated within the Allegheny Mountains above the Cheat River Valley. The town is spread across a large rural area with less than 1,000 families calling the region home. Just south of Kingwood is the even smaller community of Tunnelton, which is home to a population of just over 200 people. Perhaps not surprisingly, Kingwood is a place where many residents have family connections carried over generations, where neighbors know each other, and where gossip and rumors travel quickly. At about 7:15 in the morning on Wednesday, May 29, 2019, one local resident placed a call to the Preston County Sheriff's Office about suspected drug activity on Shower Bath Road. There was a maroon pickup truck parked where the road first widened past Route 26. The road runs next to the Cheat River. Later that morning, Deputy Childers pulled up behind the truck and began to inspect it. The deputy found the vehicle empty. Dark gray smoke building up in the interior of the cab made it nearly impossible to see in. Some of the smoke billowed out from the passenger side window, no doubt the reason that the caller had suspected drug use.
It almost seems as if somebody's probably trying to set this one on fire from the looks of it here.
There was clearly oil or a similar type of liquid accelerant spilling out from the doors. In the truck bed were 2 containers of motor oil, one of them empty. On the passenger side, there were notable smudges visible, but there were no hand or finger imprints. Despite the arsonist's efforts, much of the interior remained intact.
There's a pretty good indication. Gloves, they were wearing gloves for the palm print here. Keys are out of the ignition, there's a bear there, the center console's been opened. As you can see, it smells like an oil. There's oil all over the dash, a couple places here.
The deputy was joined by a sergeant and then by the fire department. Tire tracks emerging from the roadside near to the pickup suggested another vehicle could have been involved, perhaps driven away by the arsonist.
Hey, this looks like I don't know if it's fresh, but it comes from right here on the side of this truck. There's like a tire tread going out that way.
The pickup was registered to Philip Barlow, a local truck driver known affectionately as Bucky. Before long, this was further confirmed when Bucky's nephew, Perry, arrived on scene and told them that that was his uncle's truck. He placed a call to Bucky's employer, Hillside Trucking, to check in on him. Perry learned that Bucky had not arrived for work that morning, and no one had heard from him. A highly unusual circumstance for a trucker who was known for his reliability.
You can have any kind of issues?
Not that I'm aware of. Last time I talked to him, that was at breakfast, which would have been Mother's Day. He was bitching about his neighbor being an outlaw. Other than that, everything was normal.
Is he married?
No. Paul said he never called or showed up, and he said that's highly unusual.
He got anybody he lives with? Kids? Nobody?
His fiance, girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, lives in Indiana.
And where?
Indiana.
Indiana.
See, his plan is to retire in September and move to Indiana.
Philip Bucky Barlow was in fact only weeks away from a well-deserved retirement. He and Mary Butler, his partner of over 17 years, had been making preparations for their pending move out of state. She had moved to Indiana ahead of him to set up their new home. The circumstances surrounding the abandoned truck were suspicious. Foul play was certainly being considered, though Bucky was not known as the type to make enemies. He was described as a big-hearted man who loved children and was reportedly shockingly competent on a pair of roller skates. Indeed, Bucky dedicated many Sundays to teaching local kids how to skate. He also loved riding his four-wheeler, camping, and playing with his remote control cars. Though he had no children of his own, the 61-year-old was close with his extended family, including nieces and nephews. He was one of 9 children, though had already suffered the loss of 2 siblings. In the local area were 2 of his brothers, 4 sisters, their spouses, and children. None of his family members had heard from him since he left his home for work the night before. Mary had spoken with Bucky while he was preparing to leave at just before midnight. He was often one of the first to report in at around 12:15 a.m. That night, Bucky did not arrive. A missing persons investigation was launched by the county sheriff's office under the lead of Captain Travis Tichnell. Officers began by speaking with coworkers at Hillside Trucking.
What's your thoughts about all this? What's your thoughts about all this?
I don't know. It was normally Bucky's the type of person, and you have to forgive me, but if the man's gonna make a bell, maybe he tells everybody. I mean, everybody knows anything and everything about him. And normally, you can say in clockwork, he normally shows up between 12:15 to around 12:45. He's here. I noticed he wasn't here last night, and I went over and asked him if he was coming out later with the rest of the drivers. We didn't know. He wasn't scheduled off for anything. We didn't know either why he didn't show up at all.
Any enemies that he had that you know of? Somebody he didn't like?
The only person that we knew is that his neighbors. You always heard him talk about fighting with his neighbor.
Who's that?
I don't know what his name was.
You don't know his name?
It's our daytime mechanic. It's his nephew. But I don't know what his name is.
As the search commenced, Mary traveled from Illinois to the home she shared with Bucky on No. 4 Road, south of Kingwood in the even smaller town of Tunnelton. Deputies, with the assistance of the community, searched the area where the truck had been found for any indication of a pathway towards the river or any additional evidence that might indicate where they could find Bucky. Family members and friends walked the length of the river where the terrain allowed, hoping to spot something.
My brother said he seen something floating in the river this morning, and he's got a bunch of the raptors out looking at the river right now.
Okay.
But we're just thinking the same thing you're thinking. If the truck burned up on this road,
If anybody went in this water, I mean, they would show up at the bottom.
As the only source of controversy in the trucker's life appeared to be an ambiguous dispute with one of his neighbors, deputies were keen to conduct a canvass of the area. Directly next to his house was the home of Laura Martin and Robert Bobby Quinn.
Well, the reason I'm stopping is your neighbor there. I wonder if you happen to know when he left, or did you see him leave, or...
No, they were stopped down along the road. I was with my grandpa. What's my grandma's husband? He ain't my biological grandpa, but I call him grandpa. Anyway, on my way back, and my neighbor over here, Greg, stopped, and he was asking if our cameras was up and running, which we have to have internet, and we don't. And I told him no, what was going on. And he said they couldn't find Bucky. Well, I mean, you can ask these guys it's high and by, and I don't know anybody's names, really.
That's understandable.
And I was like, who's Bucky? And he said, your neighbor lives in a trailer. I said, what do you mean? You can't find him? I told him.
You don't hear when he leaves or anything. I know it's early in the morning.
And there, you got the fan turned on high and washer and dryer running. You can't.
Yeah, I understand.
Laura explained that they were in bed early the night before. With appliances running inside the house, like their washer-dryer, they could not hear anything that might have taken place outside. Unfortunately, the couple were of no help to investigators. Laura and Quinn were not the only neighbors in the immediate vicinity. Bucky's property also connected with land occupied by a man named Craig McLeod. The more neighbors the police spoke with, the more they heard the same rumors and allegations. That Craig McLeod and his friend, a man named Chris Thorne, must be responsible for Bucky's disappearance.
Greg Maxwell's wife said he'd had a falling out with Chris Thorne the night before, last night, yeah. And
well, I'm reaching out to you. Just up on
Look, I have a feeling you're McLeod and
listen. I'm reaching out to you. Like I said, you've always given me good information, whether you were in the right or whether you were in the wrong.
Right.
I don't think that you have any involvement with it.
Right.
I don't.
No, I don't.
But I figured of all people to talk to, you'd be a good one to reach out to.
Believe me, I'm trying to figure that shit out myself.
What's your guts telling you?
Chris Thorne and McLeod has to
Why?
be. Because they're always together. They're always running together, and I think McLeod's the fall guy for Chris.
You think what?
He's the fall guy.
What do you mean the
for
fall?
Chris? Whenever shit hits the fan for him, he's going to use McLeod as a fall guy.
So you think, who do you think had the problem with the man?
Who? McLeod.
You think McLeod had the problem?
Yeah.
And what do you think would happen from there?
I know he was going to take a golf club to him.
Local gossip led police to a woman named Rebecca, who was Craig's ex-girlfriend. Their breakup may have been the source of the conflict between Craig and Bucky.
You said you got a message from your sister?
Yeah.
Who's your sister?
Elizabeth McLeod.
How is she a McLeod?
She's married to Craig's nephew, Keith. Well, the message she sent me was one she forwarded that Craig had sent her. I used to date Craig, and I guess where Bucky lives is like a neighbor to where me and Craig used to stay. Craig was setting my stuff up in Bucky's property.
Say what?
He was setting my stuff up on the Bucky's property.
What do you mean?
Well, me and him broke up, and he
put your stuff on Bucky's property?
Yeah. He told me to come get it. Well, Bucky thought it was trash he was setting up there. So Bucky came out and was asking him to move it and stuff. And Craig apparently, in the message my sister forwarded to me, Craig was saying that he was going to go beat Bucky with the golf club for touching my stuff. And I didn't know.
When was this?
My sister just forwarded the message to me today, but it would have been the day before Bucky went missing that Craig and him got into an argument, and he was supposed to beat him with the golf club or whatever. He chased him with the golf club or however it was.
That's all that you know.
Yeah, I never even met Bucky before. And then I heard where he was missing, and then my sister told me that, and I'm like, kind of seemed weird that Craig said he was gonna chase him with the golf club or hit him with the golf club, and then he's missing. So.
As the rumors made their rounds, additional details made their way into the narrative. Some people had heard that Bucky had been killed somewhere near a place known as the Caves, across from River Road. His killers were described as methed out. They had likely dumped him in the river, some said. Still, others had heard an even more gruesome tale. Someone known as Turtle was allegedly contacted by Chris the day after Bucky went missing. He allegedly wanted to know about borrowing his grinder. Those who caught wind of that story surmised that Bucky was now in pieces, buried in different locations across the county.
What I was told is that somebody came here and told me that Chris Thorne got a hold of them and wanted them to help him. And
who are they?
He took a golf club and hit the guy in the head. He didn't intend to kill the guy. But the guy ended up dying, of We chopped him up, put him in different places.
Well, who told you that?
Somebody ought to tell him.
It's more or less rumors, except for, Turtle. He told me that the day that he supposedly murdered Chris Thorne, I called him and asked him to use his grinder. So I didn't think none of it. I told him no, because, you don't trust him. He's the teeth and everything else. But now he thinks he knows why, because he needed help with that. And then he's telling, then later on he told him that he hit him with the golf club in the back of the, or in the head, somewhere in the head, and that she didn't mean to kill him, that he hit him to knock him out, and it killed him. I mean, I heard stuff, rumors, but I don't know nothing for a fact. All I know is that Turtle said, hey, he called me wanting to know as far as grinder or something.
Okay. Called you on your cell phone, and how did the conversation start?
Well, you did it, right?
That's what she said. And did you know who she was talking about?
Yeah.
How do you know who she's talking about?
Because Chris is dirty.
Okay. Well, when I first heard or seen her, read about it or whatever, the first person I thought of was Creighton Clown, because they never got along. You know what I mean?
Nobody else, though?
No. Well, Chris and Debbie.
They said they had cut him up and spread him around and buried him after they had robbed him.
And who was that?
Well, there's supposed to be 3 other people involved in it. I don't know who those were.
Well, it could just be a weird theory, too, at the same time. It's also always a possibility.
As the rumors continued, other names were thrown into the mix. Chris's wife, Debbie, was amongst those implicated. Almost every witness approached by police prefaced their information by stating they had heard only rumors, not facts. Nonetheless, as more and more individuals reached the same conclusion, a confidence developed around these allegations, an unsupported yet unflinching certainty that many in the community knew what must have happened to Bucky Barlow.
Like 5 guys jumped Chris yesterday trying to blame him for shit I know he didn't do.
Like what?
I don't know, something about some guy missing in a truck. Hold on. The guy's name is Barlow, and I guess he's an older man and he's missing.
Okay.
So after this guy picked up a tire, he picked up the, what's it called? A floor jack, and hit my husband across the face with it.
That was today?
Yes.
So why do you think that Robbie Wiles hit Chris with a floor jack?
I have no clue. Oh, no, I do have a clue. Chris was at one of our friends and they were working on their truck, and some boy named Hunter said that my husband killed somebody. My husband did not kill no fucking body. That's funny.
Independent efforts were made to obtain confessions from the community's prime suspects.
Yeah, because I don't like this. I mean, nobody here does, to be honest with you. If he's the culprit, we're going to make sure he gets caught, believe me. Well, I can tell you, by the way he's acting, he's guilty. So, we're about to go find out here in a little bit. If I can send you your way, I will. I'll call you.
Is there any way you can record it?
Yeah.
Do you have a recorder?
I got a cell phone.
Does it record? Like an audio recorder? Yeah. Why don't you do that?
All right. The whole conversation. I'll just sit and record when I get there. All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Would it not look odd if you get your phone out and then hit record, put it in your pocket, and say, so tell me about killing Bucky here.
If you kill Bucky, you might be thinking he's a badass. You know what I mean?
Tell me your guy, because you've never
I'm not worried. I think he's guilty, honest to God. I don't know how or why, but...
Did you see Chris Thorne as a badass, though?
No, I see him as a stupid punk-ass killer.
Ronnie Reiger had offered to split the reward money for locating Bucky with Chris Thorne if Chris would just admit to what he did and where Bucky was. But Chris denied any knowledge of or any involvement in the disappearance. He told Ronnie that he had no idea where Bucky Barlow was. At just past 9 a.m. on June 8th, just over a week after Bucky disappeared, the county sheriff's office received a phone call from a small group of hunters who had spotted what they believed was a body floating face down in the river. Pat Zukowski stated that he and his grandson, Braden, spotted a body lying in the creek bed. It was roughly 80 yards downstream from the bridge. They went to the nearest home in the area and alerted the homeowner.
Like at Barlow, at Bucky.
He's the one that's missing, so that's kind of where we were heading. That's why everybody's just all going to converge at one time, and we'll look at it one time. If you guys don't mind, you guys have IDs handy so I can make sure everybody that's witness can
Go back to my house and get it.
Well, I pretty well know who you are.
Deputies made their way down the river. The body was shirtless. Jeans were around the ankles. Boots were on. The body was unfortunately too decomposed to formally make an identification on site, though Pat reported that he had known Bucky Barlow for ages, and the man they found matched his build. Then, a shirt lodged underneath a fallen log near to the recovery site in the river was pulled from the water. The blue and white striped shirt had 2 chest patches. One read Hillside Trucking, the other, Philip. They had found Philip Bucky Barlow.
That's his name. Call Travis and let him know his name's on it.
The cause of death was a deep laceration to the neck. A knife or another blade had been the murder weapon. It had not been recovered. Captain Tichnell concluded that wherever Bucky had been murdered, there would have been a substantial amount of blood. Police searching the river near to where he was found did not identify a likely murder scene nearby. The same was true for the first location, where Bucky's truck had been recovered by the side of the road. In the truck itself, there was blood in the middle to the right of the back seat, on the exterior door handles, front driver and passenger seats, center console, steering wheel, and the gear shift. However, the analysis concluded that with the amount of blood loss apparently suffered by Bucky, it was extremely unlikely that he had been killed inside the truck. Zip ties located on the ground outside near to his house suggested he could have been bound and transported elsewhere in his own pickup before he was placed in the river and the truck set on fire. Investigators spoke with both Craig McLeod and Chris Thorne, as well as others who had been implicated in the rumor mill by association. They executed search warrants, pulled phone data, and verified alibis. To the extent that they uncovered any verifiable evidence, it supported their claim of innocence. It was also now clear that Bucky had not been killed by a golf club, nor had the killer utilized a grinder. Months passed with little progress made in the investigation. Then, in January 2020, Captain Tichnell went back through the files compiled in the initial days of the investigation. He reviewed everything, including witness statements and body cam footage. That is when he began to closely scrutinize the recorded statements of Bucky's immediate next-door neighbors, Laura Martin and Bobby Quinn. The couple first spoke with a deputy on May 29th. They did so again in mid-July. What Tichnell noted was that they both, to some degree, spontaneously claimed that they didn't hear anything that night because of their air conditioner unit running. They always had it on full blast, they said. Except the day the truck was found, they did not mention an AC unit at all. That day, they stated it was the noise from their washing machine that had blocked all sound from outside.
Got the fan turned on high and washer and dryer running. You can't hear.
I understand.
So the captain spoke with Mary Butler, who had arrived back at the house next to Laura and Quinn's just after Bucky went missing. Mary was positive that no air conditioner unit was installed in their south-facing window when she returned from Indiana. She knew it was about late June or early July before the AC was put in the window. This small inconsistency was not much to go on. That is, until the captain also learned that the couple did not own a washing machine either.
Well, thank you very much. I'll get out of your way in just a second, guys. Thanks.
Laura and Quinn's alibi was chased down. Family members who were meant to have been working on a truck with Quinn could not recall if they had been doing so on the day and night in question, as he asserted. Laura's grandmother could not confirm their presence at her home either, though these were the locations the couple claimed to have been on the night Bucky disappeared. While interviewing their family members, police were told one more story about what had allegedly happened to Bucky Barlow, and this one rang true. They were told that Laura had confessed to the murder. She told a family member that she and Quinn heard that their neighbor had money. They staged a robbery with BB guns outside his house, only to learn that Bucky only had $50 in cash on him. So, they killed him. In the spring of 2020, Laura Martin and Robert Quinn were in custody in a Maryland jail following their arrest for a series of storage building break-ins. From Preston County, their communication was monitored. Would one of them slip up and speak about the murder on a recorded line? While Laura was never caught making any incriminating statements, she was recorded having extensive, at times explicit, conversations with a man that was not Bobby Quinn. To that point, Quinn had denied any involvement in Bucky's murder. After he was played some of Laura's recorded phone calls, however, proving her unfaithfulness to him, Quinn began to talk. And he placed the blame for the murder on Laura. Quinn offered to take investigators to the locations where the robbery, kidnapping, and murder took place.
Yes, sir. All right, so it's Quinn, right?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'm terrible with names. I'll remember your face forever, but
Yeah.
terrible with names. Step to your left, just a little bit for me.
Quinn told investigators that it was Laura's idea to rob Bucky. She waited outside his door for him to exit for work. When he came out, she attacked him, and a struggle ensued. Only then did Quinn step in. The two of them then forced Bucky into his own truck. They traveled to an area known as Fortney Mills, where there was a swimming hole. The water falls below a bridge over the Three Fork Creek. Laura forced Bucky to walk down under the bridge.
She told him give him your wallet now. And
she said give him the wallet?
Yeah.
And what else?
His money.
Okay. And where was Laura standing at this time?
Right
where I'm standing? Okay. Where were you standing?
I was standing right pretty much where he's at.
Okay.
According to Quinn, Laura threw Bucky's wallet into the river and told him to get on his knees. After, she put him in the water.
Okay, but he was on his knees at this time?
Yeah.
Okay. Did he resist going down on his knees?
No.
Okay.
And she stabbed him in the neck and threw him in the water.
Okay.
The specifics in Quinn's version of events changed several times. The one constant was his attempt to put the majority of the blame on his former partner, Laura Martin.
Alright. Now, did you see her shove him into the water?
No.
Okay. You just assumed that she did?
Yeah.
Did you ever ask her what she did with him?
Yeah, she said, well, he's in the water now, it'll be hard to find.
Okay. Okay.
Quinn explained that after dumping the truck and setting it on fire, they walked to the home of one of Laura's family members, where they took his keys. They drove the vehicle back to their home, changed into fresh clothes, and then drove down River Road near the caves. There, they burned any evidence that remained, including their dirty clothing. Quinn said that he did not have any blood on him at all, but burned his clothing as well, because he was scared of Laura. The last stop on Bobby Quinn's confession tour was the location where it all began, on Number 4 Road where they had lived. Quinn reiterated that he watched from the window as Laura attempted to rob Bucky. Quinn explained that Laura took his wallet at that point, apparently forgetting that he had already included this detail in his account of what had occurred at Fortney Mills by the water.
Now, earlier down at the the stream, he told us that he reached behind him when he was sitting on that ledge to give her his wallet.
Yeah,
that's when he got the wallet.
Yeah, hey Bobby, come on.
Dude, you just told us he gave the wallet to her twice.
Your wallet, your version of this story has changed 6 times just since we've been here. Okay?
Yeah. They told her, she told him to give me.
Bobby, you were here when this started, weren't you? Yeah, you were. You were.
No, I was over there.
You were down here. Okay? There's just no doubt about that.
Yeah, I come down after I seen her heading. Yeah, I was here.
You would not send your woman out to fight with a full-grown man by herself to try and rob him. I don't think that anybody would stand in the window and watch from 100-ish yards away while their woman went out to rob and, sounds like, deliberately kill a man.
Laura Martin also agreed to share her version of events with Captain Tichenal. She was not aware that Bobby Quinn had decided to talk. By extension, she did not know that he had implicated her almost exclusively in the murder. However, she was still under pressure to come clean. Not only had a family member recounted her alleged confession, but an ex-cellmate had similarly told law enforcement that she had confessed to her as well. That cellmate recounted disturbing details of how Bucky's throat was cut. She quoted Laura describing him trying to speak afterwards. He made a gurgling sound that she said she would like to hear again. Laura apparently said it was the coolest thing she had ever heard. After she killed him, still with Bucky's blood on her hands, they took out his lunch and ate the sandwiches that he had packed for work that night. Tichenal determined that the cellmate's account was credible. She included details such as the nature of the injuries Bucky incurred to be facts that only a person involved would have known.
Is Bobby even cooperating with you guys?
I don't know, ma'am. I was asked to kind of stay out late after my shift to ride around with you guys, and that's about it.
You know if he's taking me down there?
Down
to the bridge?
Laura said that the two of them jumped out at Bucky in the dark with BB guns that they hoped would pass for real firearms. Bucky immediately put up a fight, she said, and he kept getting his licks in even after they forced him into the truck. They attempted to bind his hands with zip ties, but he broke free. They wore masks that covered most of their faces and gloves they purchased from Walmart. Despite their disguise once in the truck, Bucky declared that he knew exactly who they were.
Okay, so that's kind of one of the parts that I'm a little bit trying to get my head wrapped around. Guy's walking out, gets a gun shoved in his face, gets attacked, tries to be bound with zip ties, and then he just kind of, fine, I'll go with you. It seems like we're glossing over something that's not making a lot of sense to me.
No, I mean, there was a hell of a scuffle. I would say the scuffle probably lasted like half hour, if not longer. And I think he was just getting tired of it.
Okay.
At Fortney Mills, Laura said Bucky fought with Quinn before he was killed. Her former partner had used a box cutter, which they subsequently lost. It had likely fallen into the river during the course of the murder, or in rolling Bucky into the water. She claimed to have fought to save him in the final moments, but she had not been successful.
But then I was down on my knees and I was rocking back and forth because I was freaking out. I've been in this spot because it didn't even happen like this.
Okay.
And then he was like, "Are you going to help me or what?" And I was sitting there rocking, holding my head like this.
Do you think Bucky was dead at that point already? Was he still moving at all?
No.
No, okay.
No, he was really white.
Okay. I'm kind of having trouble getting my mind wrapped around something that you said a few times that Bucky put up a hell of a fight.
Yeah. He
I
went in his
think your
house.
words where he got his licks in.
Yeah.
But then he gets down here with a gun to his head up at the vehicle, comes down here and then just submits to get on his knees. He's got to know that he's going to be
They
murdered.
scuffled.
Okay.
They fought back and forth. Bobby's gun got knocked away from him. And then Bobby pulled out the box cutter and said, "No matter how much you fucking fight, you're gonna die."
Okay.
And I froze. I was like, "What the fuck do you mean?" And Bobby started freaking out. He's like, he knows who we are. He knows who we are.
What was Bucky saying at that time?
He was like, I won't say nothing. I won't say nothing. I just want to go to work. And I was just like, let him go to work. If he says something, it's a burglary or a robbery truck. It's not a death truck.
Despite their claims of regret and blaming one another, Laura Martin and Robert Quinn were each sentenced to life plus 180 years in prison for robbery, kidnapping, and murder. They each entered into plea agreements for first-degree murder and first-degree robbery. The agreement was that they would receive life with a recommendation of mercy, meaning they could apply for parole after just 15 years on the murder charge. But the judge sentenced each to 180 years for the robbery to run consecutive with the life sentence, rendering the agreement completely moot. The couple said the robbery was motivated by necessity. They needed cash because their electricity was going to be turned off for lack of payment. Upon sentencing, Bucky's siblings told the court that his last dream had been to retire, a goal he had spent his entire life working towards. His killers had taken that from him. And that was the tragic case of Philip Bucky Barlow. Thank you for joining me, and a special thank you this week to our newest Sherlock Holmes members, Willedra Watson, Jen Wright, Kitten Cartel, Preston Berry, Tracy Young, Trevor Thompson, P.S. Pillay, Donna Marie, and Wonder Woman SP. Thank you all for being here with us. I'm Kevin, this is Just Thought Lounge, and I'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, the content that you need, this could be a new sign. We talk in the comments, they jot in a few lines. Tune in and hit like, love that, it's too kind. Feels like the whole world is online for true crime. Watch them on a run, but it's not a race. Really hard to disappear, poof without a trace. Sherlock Holmes with it, I put you in your place. Got my smoking pipe, only right, I crack another case like. I need that feeling that you brought. Who learned the lesson that you taught?